A very good afternoon, everyone. So, in this class, we'll discuss with different types of cement. For everyone, my voice is clear and the slides are visible. Can somebody please
Yes,
answer?
sir.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we'll start with the types of cements. So, till now, you have seen the manufacturing phase of cement. So, that is like the Portland cement, what we can call the raw materials, what we have used there, limestone as well as clay and adding gypsum. So, that normal procedure cement, we can call it as ordinary Portland cement. So, now you will get various types of different cements for the purpose of various applications in the civil engineering field. So here the cement that exhibits different properties and characteristics depending upon their chemical compositions. So initially, what you are going to use the raw materials like lime and limestone as well as the clay part. So their various chemicals are to be present in those raw materials. So depends upon that also, which is going to exhibit different properties at the end of the manufacturing phase. So by changing the fineness of grinding or the oxide compositions, cement can be made to exhibit different properties. So here we can differentiate these cements by changing, I mean the types of cements by changing the fineness of grinding. I mean whatever we are bringing down that one to the finest part, so especially at the crusher plant, right? So you have taken the raw materials, you have crushed that, and then you have stored that one in the storage basin. So that crushing of raw materials and bringing down that one to the finest molecule, so that process we can change it. I mean, instead of finest, still more larger particles we can use there. And then just by changing this oxide composition. So we have seen in one flow chart there how exactly the chemicals which are present in the raw materials are reacts with the oxygen. I mean the oxides O2 content, and it forms with the CSH gel at the end, and which has liberated the calcium hydroxide. Anyone have remember that? Else just I will go back to that slide and I will show you once. So in that flow chart we have, yes, in this, so these are the chemicals which are present in the raw materials, and then it reacts with oxygen part O2 or this oxides, and it forms the oxide compositions which are present in the raw materials. Okay, and then after burning this it forms with the box compounds, and then at last by adding water and all it forms CSH gel. Clear? And then along with this calcium hydroxide also it will get liberate. So this procedure, just you remember this so that it is going to helpful while explaining the other types of the cements. Okay. Okay, so here the types of that cement can be made exhibit different properties just by changing the oxide compositions. If the oxide composition is less than the permissible one, then it is going to exhibit different properties, and then it forms with other types of cement. Okay, and here the type of cement that should be made only by varying the relative proportions of the oxide compositions. As you all know that the box compounds proportions C3S, C2S, C3A and C4AF. These are the four box compounds, and the proportion of these elements in the cement C3S and C2S togetherly it forms around 70%, right? And then the remaining two C3A, that is tricalcium aluminate and tetracalcium aluminoferrite. Togetherly, it forms around 15 to 20%. Correct. So these are the chemical compositions in the box compounds proportions in that. So these proportions will purely dependent upon the chemicals which are present in that C3S, C2S, C3A as well as C4AF. Okay. So that is purely dependent upon this oxide compositions, and which are not found to be sufficient. So that time resources have been taken and add one or more new materials. So in the conventional cement, I mean in the ordinary Portland cement, what we can call. So this OPC, this is the ordinary Portland cement, basically used in most of all the civil engineering works. Clear? So now all the special types of the cements other than this is purely related with this OPC, right? We are comparing those other types of the cements with OPC, that is ordinary Portland cement. Okay, and here in some cases, whatever the chemicals which are not sufficient in this OPC, I mean, might be which is less in calcium oxide, that is in lime content, and that time we can use some other additives and then we'll bring that one for a new type of cement. So that is depends upon when you will be having lack of chemicals which are present in the ingredients, and you are going to add some other materials to that just to bring down, I mean bring up those properties to the higher level. Clear? So here resources have been taken and add one or more new materials. So here whatever the OPC is having raw materials, with that along with these ingredients, they are going to add one more additives. I mean the other ingredients, one or more other new materials. So they are basically called additives. So this process we can add in the clinker part. Once we'll get clinker from the rotary kiln, we are going to add these additives at the time of grinding, and along with this we can add gypsum also, right? So once it will comes out from the clinker, and then we are going to add 2 to 3% by the weight of the cement to the clinker. So now along with the gypsum, we are going to add some more additives, I mean the extra materials, just to change the property of the original cement. Okay. And then at the time of grinding or to the use of entirely different basic raw materials in the manufacturing of the cement. Either we can change the materials at the time of clinker, else togetherly, I mean entire process only we can change it just by replacing the raw materials. We can go with any other methods just to change the property of the original cement. And here in this chapter, we shall deal with the properties and use of the various kinds of the cements. And these cements are classified as Portland cement and non-Portland cement. So here the distinction is mainly based on the methods of manufacture. You can ask what is Portland cement and what is non-Portland cement. That is purely dependent upon the manufacturing phase. In the Portland cement, what you have seen, you have taken the raw materials, you have grind that, you have added the water, and then you send that one to the rotary kiln, and then you have provided around 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius, and then you have bring down to the clinker, added to the raw material, added to the other additives like gypsum and all. But here in non-Portland cement, the raw materials are used in a fine particles only, and that time the process will be much easier. And here the Portland and non-Portland cements generally used are listed below here. So as per the Indian standard specification, that number is also given against these elements. So numbers are nothing but this Indian standard code books. Clear? Yeah. Okay. And here the classification which is based upon the materials used in the manufacturing phase. The first one it's with ordinary Portland cement. So again this ordinary Portland cement which is classified as with respect to the grade, that is ordinary Portland cement with 33 grade, 43 grade, and then 53 grade. So along with this they have given this IS code numbers also. So what it indicates, these codes will gives you all the specification about this ordinary Portland cement which is with 33 grade. All the specification in the sense how exactly that cement should be while using in the construction, and all the properties have been mentioned there. And after conducting different tests on these cements, it is going to exhibit some results, and the standard OPC will be having certain standard results. Whether your own cement which is gaining that strength or other specification properties or not, that one we need to check by referring this code book. So Code book means what? Do not confuse with the code book. It's just like a manual. So whatever we are going to conduct the work or use the material, it should satisfy these code books. Means they should have certain rules and regulations. Our own materials, whatever we are going to use in the construction, it should matches with those conditions. Okay, they are like code books. And here ordinary Portland cement with 43 grade, which is having the next code book number, that is IS 8112 1989. So this 1989, which is nothing but the year of publications of this IS code books. In the year of 1989 only, they have prepared the standards of this ordinary Portland cement. Then the next grade, it is with ordinary Portland cement with 53 grade, and for that they are having code IS 12269 in the year of 1987 itself. Okay, so these are the types of ordinary Portland cement. So this is also a type of cement. So in that again, which is classified as three types. So basically, the this cement, that is ordinary Portland cement, which is used in most of all the construction works. I mean, in the general construction works of building, apartment, or some other works, whatever the civil engineering construction aspects you will consider, they're all we can use these types of cements, that is ordinary Portland cement. And in that, preferably they are going to use this second type, that is ordinary Portland cement with 43 grade. So why they have given this 33, 43 and 53? Why can't they give with 40, 50 like that, right? So that is that concept. I will explain you why exactly they have given those grade numbers. And after this ordinary Portland cement, the next type will be rapid hardening cement, that code specified with IS 8041 and then 1990. And next type, extra rapid hardening cement. See here, rapid hardening cement and then extra rapid hardening cement. There will be a small change in between these two, that is extra rapid hardening. So I will explain you the concept behind these two different types of cements. And then D, that is sulfate resisting cement, codes with 12330 1988. And then next cement, Portland Sag cement, starts with code IS 455 1989. Then quick setting cement, super sulfated cement. And then see, there are so many types of cements. Most asked questions in the exam with a short note. Write a short note on types of cement. So that time you need to note down, not most of all, I mean, at least around 8 to 10, depends upon the marks, you need to explain that. Else, they will give specifically about these names, that is hydrophobic cement. Write a short note on hydrophobic cement. That time you need to explain entirely this part. Okay. So after this super sulfated cement, we'll get low heat cement and Portland Pozzolana cement, that is PPC. PPC. Most time you have heard this word, that is PPC and OPC. Ordinary Portland cement. PPC stands for Portland Pozzolana cement. Okay. And then colored cement, hydrophobic cement, masonry cement, expansive cement, oil well cement, ready set cement, and then concrete sleeper grade cement. See the names. Somewhere it is related. High alumina cement, very high strength cement. Okay, so these are the different types of cements what you can see in our daily life. Okay, we'll study one by one now. And apart from this, these all cements which are purely classified based upon the Indian standard, right? IS, it is stands for Indian standard. Okay, so now you will get in worldwide, that is okay. So before we discuss about the above cements, like these cements, just will concentrate on, for the general information, it is necessary to see how Portland cements are classified under ASTM. Now ASTM stands for American Society for Testing Materials. So our own Indian country which is going to follow that Indian standard code books, but throughout worldwide, which is going to refer ASTM, which is the standard code books. So as per the ASTM, the cement is designated as type 1 cement, type 2, type 3, type 4, and then type 5. So there are 5 types of cements which are classified under ASTM. So some or other things which are similar to this Indian standard code books itself, whatever we have classified, which are much similar to this, but only the thing is classification name has been changed there. Okay, they have classified as type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, but where we have given particular name for that: rapid hardening cement, quick setting cement, and then low heat cement, right? So like that we have given different names, but there they have classified as type 1 to type 5, and other minor types like type 1s, 1p, 1a, 2a, and then 3a. Okay, so like that they have classified the minor types of cements. Minor in the sense most rarely used only at the specified locations. Okay, they are belongs to the minor cements. So there they have classified as type 1s, 1p, 1a, 2a, and then 3a. Okay, now we'll study what is type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, and all. So here type 1 is nothing but the ordinary Portland cement, right? So we have classified as ordinary Portland cement, but there they have classified as type 1. Both are same, OPC, which is belongs to type 1. So for use in general concrete constructions where the special properties specified for types 2, type 3, type 4, type 5 are not required. So means they have, it's like what this is belongs to the ordinary Portland cement. And here type 2, which is used for general concrete constructions but exposed to the moderate sulfate actions. So moderate sulfate actions in the sense this is a special property of the concrete. Basically the sulfate content, that is SO3. I have explained you in the previous class. This SO3 reacts with the other ingredient which is emitted from the manufacturing process, that is calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. I told you to remember that process, right? Along with the CSH gel, this calcium hydroxide also it will get liberate. Clear? So once it reacts with the SO3, it forms sulfate attack. So to resist this sulfate attack, a particular cement has been used. That one we can consider as sulfate resistant cement. Or here for the use of concrete constructions which is exposed to moderate sulfate actions, or where the moderate heat of hydration is required, where you require a low heat of hydration, especially at the place where the hydration process required less. So that time we can use these types of the cement. And third type, that is type 3, for use when high early strength is required. You can see here, as per the standard norms, we'll get the strength in 28 days, after the 28 days. Okay, after 28 days of curing period. Yeah, so here high early strength in the sense we'll get the strength earlier than that of the standard cement curing periods. I mean 28 days. Within that 28 days only we'll get the higher strength, because which is going to harden at the earlier time, and it is going to liberate certain heat of hydration process, and which is going to exhibit certain amount of heat, so that it is going to give a much more strength than the conventional one. So that only we can consider type 3 cement, but as per our Indian standard code book, we have given the name as rapid hardening cement. And then type 4 for the use when the low heat of hydration is required. Where we require low heat of hydration, I mean comparatively the amount of C3s as well as C3, sorry, C2s. So these possesses the more heat of hydration in the cement, and to reduce that heat of hydration, we require some cements. So that one only we can call it as type 4 as per the ASTM, but as per the Indian standard, we will call low heat cement. And similarly, type 5, which is used for for use when high sulfate resistance is required. As I said, sulfate resistant cement that is considered in type 5. And then type 1s, that is ASTM standard, that also have the cement of the type IS, and this consists of intimate and uniform blend of Portland cement of type 1 and fine granulated slag. So just you can check it. So along with the Portland cement, right? Portland cement of type 1. This one we can call it as OPC. And they are going to add some additives like fine granulated slag. So fine granulated slag, which may be acts as a waste product, which may get exist from certain industries. So they are going to use this fine granulated slag along with this Portland cement, and it forms type 1s. Okay, and the slag content is between 25 to 70% by the weight of Portland blast furnace slag cement. So we can use this fine granulated slag up to 25 to 70% by the weight of total cement. Next minor cement, it is considered as type 1P, and this consists of intimate and uniform blend of Portland cement or Portland blast furnace slag cement and fine pozzolana, in which the pozzolana content is between 15 to 40% of the weight of the total cement. It's nothing but what the term pozzolana is new to you now. Pozzolana is nothing but, sorry, this pozzolana, the term which is nothing but which comes in the form of ash. It's like a byproduct which exhibits or which releases from several industries, and it comes in the form of ash. So that one only they are going to use along with the ordinary Portland cement, and then they will consider this one as pozzolana cement. Pozzolana is nothing but the ash content which will be used in the cement. So that ash which is liberated from various industries. Here, so here this pozzolana content that should be between 15 to 40% by the weight of total cement. For example, 1 kg you have 1000 grams. In that, you can replace this total ordinary Portland cement by 15 to 40%. Maximum you can use 400 grams as this pozzolana cement, whereas 600 grams you can use with ordinary Portland cement. Clear? Now, type 1A, 2A, and then 3A. So these are the type 1, 2, 3 cements in which air entraining agent is interground, where the air entrainment concrete is desired. Only the thing is, this 1A and all, it stands for air entraining agents. Air entraining agent means what? Once you add these types of the cements, it is going to create certain gaps in between the cement. So that gaps which will be helpful for freezing and thawing action, where the temperature changes may get occurs. So that time which is going to absorb certain amount of water, and then which helps to reduce the heat of hydration process. And now we'll start our own types of cements as per the Indian standards. Okay. So first one, it's with ordinary Portland cement. So basically used in most of all the construction works, and which is by far the most important type of the cement. Clear? And then all the discussions, whatever we have had in the previous chapters and all. So most of the discussions, they are going to be done in the coming chapters, and which are related with this OPC itself. And here OPC was classified as three grades, right? OPC, namely that is 33 grade, 43 grade, and then 53 grade. So that is purely dependent upon the strength of the cement at 28 days. So once that cement completes 28 days of curing, which is going to achieve the strength more than this desired grades. For example, OPC 33 grade, this OPC 33 grade, it should achieve the compressive strength more than 33 after the 28 days of curing. So after 28 days of curing, it should achieve the strength more than 33 Newton per mm square. Right? Similarly, OPC 43 also. Once it's complete with 28 days of curing, it should achieve strength more than this number, that is more than 43. And similarly 53 grade after 28 days of curing. I'm just writing these numbers from the mouse, just you understand the concept, not about the letter formations, because I can't draw properly from using this mouse. Okay, so no issues. So this compressive strength, it should achieve more than 53 Newton per mm square after 28 days of curing. So depends upon this, these numbers have been provided, 33, 43 and then 53. Okay. So here only they have given the explanation. If the 28 day strength is not less than 33 Newton per mm square, then it is considered as OPC 33 grade cement. And similarly, if the strength is not less than 43, then which is 43 grade cement. And similarly, 53 Newton per mm square, which is not less, means we can call it as 53 grade cement. So these numbers purely dependent upon the compressive strength of the cement after 28 days of curing. Please keep that one in your mind. Why specifically these grades numbers have been comes in the sense, this 33, 43 and 53, which is purely dependent upon the compressive strength of the cement after 28 days of curing. But the actual strength obtained by these elements at the factory are much more higher than the BIS specifications. So here BIS is one more new term to you. BIS is nothing but Bureau of Indian Standards. Okay, so this is also a standard, maintaining standard specifications and all. Certain committees are there. So here the actual strength obtained by these elements at the factory are much higher than the BIS specifications, because they're with a close supervision, without exposing that one into the environment, they are going to conduct the test. So the strength will be higher than the given standards. So it has been possible to upgrade the qualities of the cement by using high quality of limestone. See, the thing is like you can increase the quality of the cement just by increasing the quality of limestone. Limestone is nothing but the raw material of cement, right? So once you are considering the raw material, you need to check the property of this limestone, whether which is rich in limestone or not. So once if it is rich in limestone, obviously the qualities of cements will get increased. Clear? And then using high quality limestone and modern equipment, where modern equipment is nothing but, for example, rotary kiln, that is the heart of cement factory, right? So when we have used the modern techniques or modern equipments where everything is given with the digitalization process, and so that we can maintain better temperature within that rotary kiln. So once if it is started with the manual, you can't maintain up to that much heat, that is up to 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius. So that time whatever the clinker it will comes out from the rotary kiln might be which is with a not up to the mark of quality. But when you have used the modern techniques, everything which is given with a proper amount of required contents. So modern equipments that helps you to get the better quality of the cement. And closer on the line control of the constituents. So closer on the line control of constituents means we need to check which type of raw materials we are using, how much content of the chemicals are present in that. So only the specified proportions of the chemicals, raw materials only we can use there. And maintaining better particle size distribution, finer grinding, and better packing. So better packing in the sense, once, I mean before that the particle size distribution, once that materials, raw materials will get crushed, we need to check the particle size distribution. And after mixing that one with clinker plus gypsum, right? So after that process also we need to check the particle size distribution from the cement. So we need to maintain properly about that so that we can get the better quality of the cement. And then finer grinding also, that gives better results and better packing, because it should not expose to the environment. Once it is exposed, it goes on loses its property. So only only at the required time of the construction, the cement will come to the site. So they can't bring and store that one 1 year or 2 year before. Correct? So better packing will give you the good quality of the cement. Then generally the use of high grade cement offers many advantages for making stronger concrete. So high grade cements means the cements grades with IS 53. So that gives much more advantages for stronger concrete because all the ingredients, whatever we are going to use in IS 53, they are purely rich in its original content. Means limestone, whatever we are going to use, which is purely rich in lime. So there is no doubt that it's not mixed with other ingredients like soil and all, right? So that time we need to check all the raw materials properly and all the procedures equally throughout the end of the manufacturing process. So however, the high strength or high grade cements are costlier than the low grade cements, but they offer 10 to 20% savings in the cement consumption. If you are using IS 33, IS 43, IS 33 for cubic meter, if you have used around 350 kg, but here this 53 grade you can use it 320 kg itself, so that you can match up the consumption of the cement when you have used the high grades of the cement. But the manufacturing of the OPC is decreasing all over the world in view of the popularity in blended cement on account of low energy consumption, environmental pollutions, economic and other technical reasons. So it's nothing but what the manufacture of OPC, which is decreasing in all over the world. That means what nowadays, wait for a while. Use for the inconvenience. Okay. So here the manufacturing of OPC is decreasing all over the world. So that is because of various reasons. So here we are going to use wet process as a basic manufacturing procedure. So that requires huge raw materials, and then to crush we require huge equipments, and then especially while providing certain amount of heat, that is 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius, we require lot of energy sources to give that much of heat, and again that is going to emit carbon dioxide. So the basic manufacturing procedure, it's like which is harming the environment. So to overcome that, the people are looking for the other type of techniques which are with the low energy consumptions and which is less environmental pollutions, and even it should be economic and other technical reasons. So depends upon this OPC is that ordinary Portland cement manufacturing process is going to be reduced in upcoming years. And next type of cement, that is rapid hardening cement. So just you can see the difference between the ordinary Portland cement and rapid hardening cement by few points. So here this cement is similar to ordinary Portland cement. Okay, most of the constituents are similar to the ordinary Portland cement. As name only indicates that it develops strength rapidly, and as such it may be more appropriate to call its high early strength cement. So even we can call this rapid hardening cement as high early strength cement. So that's nothing but what, when you have added this rapid hardening cement along with the OPC, that is ordinary Portland cement, so which is going to give strength earlier than the ordinary Portland cement. For example, ordinary Portland cement, which is going to give certain strength after 7 days of curing. Okay, but when you have used the rapid hardening cement, it can give earlier than that of 7 days. Clear? So this rapid hardening cement, it gives the earlier strength than that of the ordinary Portland cement. So it is pointed out that you should not get confused with these two elements, that is rapid hardening cement as well as the quick setting cement. So rapid hardening also gives the same meaning as quick setting cement. Quick setting is the sense only the setting time it will get changes in this. For example, the concrete will get set around 40 to 50 minutes, but when you have added this quick setting time cement, it can get reduced to 25 to 30 minutes. So you can save the time of setting, means at the earlier time only it will get set, but here in rapid hardening cement, which is going to give the additional strength at the earlier time. So whatever the strength that OPC which is going to achieve in 7 days, this rapid hardening cement it will achieve in 3 days itself. So that's the main reason between the difference between OPC as well as this rapid hardening cement. Yeah. So now the rapid hardening cement develops at the age of 3. They have given here C. At the age of 3 days, but the same strength as that is expected of the ordinary Portland cement at 7 days. So this by using this OPC, you will get the same strength at 7 days, but the same strength you will get by using this rapid hardening cement after the age of 3 days. So 3 days in the sense after mix adding water to the cement or concrete, you need to count the time, and exactly after 3 days, whatever the strength which will come, that is of 7 days of concrete with ordinary Portland cement. Next, the rapid rate of development of the strength is attributed to the higher fineness of the grinding. That is that grinding which is purely dependent upon, the fineness of grinding. This word purely dependent upon the specific surface area. Specific surface area in the sense the cement particles will be like this fineness of grinding which is purely dependent upon the surface area of these molecules. Yeah. And that surface area it should not be less than 3250 square centimeter per gram. When you have taken 1 gram of cement, that total surface area it should not be less than 3250 square centimeter. It's just for the general purpose with respect to this fineness of grinding, nothing to worry much. And here higher of C3S and lower of C2S content. So here the content of C3S, that is tricalcium silicate, it will be higher, and whereas the C2S content, that is dicalcium silicate, that is lesser. So in this rapid hardening cement, the content of C3S will be higher, whereas C2S content will be lower. And higher a fineness of cement particles, that is exposed greater surface area, and that is for action of water, and also higher proportions of C3S results in quicker hydration. So once that C3S content is present in the cement, which leads the heat of hydration will be at the earlier time. So consequently, the rapid hardening cement that gives out much greater heat of hydration during the early period. So at the time of early period, whatever the heat of hydration which is going to generate, so that will be more in this rapid hardening cement. So once it is going to liberate the higher heat of hydration, which is going to set at the earlier time, right? And then which is going to give the better strength at the end of the hydration process. So therefore, the rapid hardening cement, it should not be used in mass concrete constructions because it requires only less time to place that one. So where in the mass concrete constructions, wait for a while. Therefore, the rapid hardening cement, it should not be used in mass concrete construction. So that means what? Once you use this rapid hardening cement in the concrete constructions, especially if they are using that one in mass, for example, in the mass structures like construction of bridges, construction of dams. So that time, if you use this rapid hardening cement for the purpose of early strength, then which is going to set at the initial stage only. So we should not use this rapid hardening cement for mass concrete construction because in the mass concrete constructions it take huge time to prepare. That means mixing the concrete, placing, transporting that one to the required location, placing at the required sections, and then compacting, leveling, and then finishing. So to complete these all activities, it requires huge time, and within that time itself, this concrete will get set. So, which is not feasible for this mass concrete construction. And the use of rapid hardening, it is actually rapid hardening cement is recommended in the following situations. Where exactly you require the use of this rapid hardening cement? Basically, this rapid hardening cement, which is much recommended in prefabricated concrete constructions. Do you know what is mean by prefabricated concrete constructions? So prefabricated concrete constructions means here the structural elements like columns, beams, slabs, and other doors, wall panels, all the structural elements are constructed in the manufacturing site. I mean, a certain factories will be there. In that factories itself, they are going to manufacture these elements, and they will transport that one in a particular vehicle, and then they will install that one to the required location, like in your construction site. So that vehicle will bring all the structural elements of columns, beams, slabs, and all, and then by using cranes and all, they will just place those structural elements like columns, beams, and all to the required location, and then they will tight. I mean, they will join those structural elements one above the other. Right. So in this case, where the structural elements are manufactured in the manufacturing site or factory, there they can use this rapid hardening cement, because whatever the mold they are going to use for that prefabrication system. So think that this is a wall panel mold. So once they are going to, it's like a opening for window, right? And now they are going to place concrete all over the here in this mold. Here, similarly, you can take only one mold. Uh, they are going to place the concrete all over here, and within a shorter period of time you can remove it and you can place that one for curing purpose, because at the earlier time only this rapid hardening cement which is going to set and which will give the early strength compared to the OPC. So where the formwork is required to remove at the early use of, yes, someone texted, I think. Okay, so there where you need yes, you want to convey something, somebody please. Yes, somebody want to convey something. Okay, so this rapid hardening cement you can use it for road repair works also, because where the traffic congestion is too high that you need to complete that repair works, so that time to get the early strength we can use this rapid hardening cement over there. Yes, yes, Pranav. Okay, so in cold weather concrete, where the rapid rate of development of strength reduces by the vulnerability of concrete to the frost damage. So here we can use this rapid hardening cements even in cold weather concretes, because the concretes when it reacts with the frost, it may undergo with certain damages here. So to overcome that, we can use these types of the cements in cold weather regions. Okay. Next will comes with rapid hardening cement. Just we'll continue this part after few minutes, after 2 to 3 minutes of break. Okay. So till that, just need 2 to 3 minutes break. Please don't go anywhere.